Hey everyone, so I got a request recently about some of my favorite drugstore makeup products, and I feel like I've done this video before in the past, but it may have different products now. Some are definitely tried and true favorites that I've had for years and years, but I figured it would just be helpful for those of you kind of more on a budget looking for some solid makeup from the drugstore. So I will put a disclaimer that I have not purchased new makeup for myself in quite some time. It kind of over the years has evolved into me prioritizing the makeup in my kit professionally rather than the makeup that I put on my own face. So I'll just use kind of whatever I have. I'm trying not to have too many products on hand that I'm not using, and things like that. So I don't really have newer drugstore products on hand that have been released over the last couple of years. So these are definitely things that either are a bit older releases or things that are older but still solid in the drugstore. Like, you can definitely find them. I've also evolved over the years, quite honestly, into just getting more high-end products. I think that's just naturally what happens as you get more into makeup and you prioritize it. You kind of spend a little bit more on it just because it brings you joy. So that's kind of happened too. So I have evolved into more of a high-end collection overall, but I definitely have some solid picks for you, so let's get into it. The first thing, which I have not opened yet because it's my backup, is the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume Mascara. Now, this has been a favorite of mine for maybe a decade. I mean, it's been years. This was my favorite way back when I was first starting in makeup and thought I knew stuff, but I really didn't. But it's remained. So I've used this both professionally and personally. Professionally, I like it because the waterproof formula is actually very good. And so it's good for crying brides, but then personally, the regular formula is just as good. I like the brush that it has. This is a personal preference, so it definitely has the rubbery bristles. So if you don't like that, you may not like this mascara. But this was the first Lash Blast in the CoverGirl mascara line. I know now they have like a purple tube and a green tube and different formulas like Curl and I don't even know what they're all called. But this is the OG. It used to just be called CoverGirl Lash Blast because it was the only one, and then they turned it into CoverGirl Lash Blast Volume, so fun fact. But I still love this. I still purchase it. I think it's $10-ish by now, but an affordable, solid mascara choice. Something else I have raved about on this channel multiple times is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. It's the eraser for dark circles. So this is primarily for your under eye circles, but I've used it on spots too. It's just really, really good. It does not crease on me like some other things crease on me. I've come to know that nothing really, how do I word this? Things always crease on me. Even if they say creaseless, they will crease to some degree. So I expect something, but it's minimal with this. And that's whether I set it with powder or don't set it with powder. And it has this little kind of sponge tip applicator, which I guess is antimicrobial and cleans itself. I don't know how true that is. No one really does. But regardless, it's a solid concealer. And the product just works really well for me. And over the years, they've come out with more shades, which is really good. And it's just a very popular product of theirs. So it's a solid concealer for both your dark circles and all over your face. Sticking in that kind of concealing realm, this is the Pixi Brightening Peach Corrector. So it is a peach tone. This is really good for us fair gals who get the purpley blue kind of dark circles underneath and just need a little color correcting help. This kind of just boosts the brightness and kind of gets rid of that discoloration before you put on your concealer. So you put a little bit of this, just pop it on the darkest parts of your face. And then put the concealer on, and it just brightens and illuminates and really helps if you have that stubborn darkness. This is a product that I'm not quite sure exists anymore, but this is the Wet n Wild Marigold Round Cream Highlighter. So this is just a really, really pretty kind of highlight. It's super creamy, a little goes a long way, and it just gives you that kind of nice like glow from within kind of look. So this is a cream formula. So this could be especially good for people with dry skin so that the powder isn't settling into any lines or dry patches or anything like that. But overall, it's just a really nice feeling product. Next we have these NYX liners. So these are called the Slide On, Glide On, Stay On, and definitely a Turn On Waterproof Extreme Shine Eyeliner. That is the longest name I think I've ever heard for a product, but they're right. It works. So I have these like fun colors, but you can honestly go for black or brown or any of the kind of typical color eyeliners. They're just really nice and creamy. So they glide on the eye really easily so that you're not tugging at that delicate area, and it doesn't hurt, and they have really pretty colors with good pigmentation, so you can have kind of fun with your liner like this. And once they dry, which only takes like a minute, it's on. It does not budge. It does not smear. These are good liners. And honestly, these are a solid dupe for the Urban Decay 24/7 liners, which are also the same kind of idea where they're like colorful and pretty and super creamy, because Urban Decay and NYX are sister companies. So get your hands on these. These are like half the price of those and work just as well. Next we have eyeshadows. So again, when it comes to Wet n Wild, I have not purchased Wet n Wild in quite some time, but I have some solid products from them. So I am a big fan of their eyeshadows. They really kind of elevated the quality of their brand over the years. Wet n Wild was definitely that brand that everybody just assumed was cheap and not good, and it was for a long time. But the drugstore as a whole over the last decade has really upped their game, especially Wet n Wild. So I have these individual shadows, Brulee and Nutty. These are like super, super pretty. I mean, the pigmentation's unreal for a drugstore shadow. Just really, really good. These are individual shadows. And then the same thing with their trios and 8 shadow palettes. So they have individuals as well as palettes. So I have the Walking on Eggshells and Silent Treatment Trios and Comfort Zone 8-pan palette. And they're just solid. They even tell you on the back like how to use them if you need help with that. But they're really incredibly solid. And I know back when I got these, this was $3. This was $1. Like, Wet n Wild is known to be one of the cheapest brands, or the most affordable, if you want to put it in a nicer way, brands out there, but they really have stepped up their game. So, like, don't sleep on them. Other eyeshadows are from NYX. These are also just really nice shadows. They have individuals, they have palettes. NYX as a whole quickly became one of my favorite drugstore brands growing up. They got themselves on the map when YouTube started to become a big thing, and so then I discovered a lot of their stuff, and they're a solid drugstore brand. Although I know you can find them at Ulta, maybe some CVS's have it now. Back in the day, it was just Ulta, so I'm not sure if they've expanded into more drugstore settings, but well worth it. The last product I have in person to talk about are these Maybelline lipsticks. So they're just standard lipsticks. They come in this rectangular kind of packaging, and they come in all different colors. So some of the colors are seasonal. So if they have like a summer collection, a winter collection, some of them are like jewel tones and neutrals like this. They come in all different colors. Look for the packaging that looks like this. It's rectangular. It has some sort of color tube. And then look at the bottom to see kind of what the color is going to be. These are really solid lipsticks. These quickly became my favorite drugstore lipsticks just because they're super pigmented, they're super comfortable, they're about as long wearing as an average lipstick would be, but I just really loved these. And I had so many colors. I recently got rid of a bunch of them because they're old, and you can't play around with lip products when they're like growing things. So yeah, but these are solid lipsticks from the drugstore. Again, like $10. So a couple honorable mentions that I do not have in person, but I just wanted to mention as really solid products. One is the Revlon Color Stay Foundation. So this foundation is sentimental to me. This was the first one after trying several and hating them from just anywhere. When I first got into makeup, I hated foundations because they wouldn't work for me. The color match was wrong. They didn't feel good. I'd look cakey. I'd look orange. All these things. And when I found the right shade of Revlon Color Stay, love it. So the thing is, it's I think like a medium to full coverage, but it's great because it's buildable. So I'm definitely more of a person that likes that more breathable, realistic skin look kind of vibe when I wear foundation, and it just was wonderful. I love the Revlon Color Stay, and it's definitely something I would repurchase. Right now I have too many foundations to go through, but Revlon Color Stay will always be one of the foundations that I would totally get if I'm in a bind. If I need a foundation, I know it's going to work. I know the color is going to work. I know the formula, it does last throughout the day, and it feels comfortable and looks good and doesn't oxidize. And it also happens to come in different skin types, so like oily and combo and dry. So that's really cool too. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to e.l.f. Cosmetics. So I first got into e.l.f. when they were only a $1 and $3 line. They didn't even have the studio line at that point, which was the more expensive $6 product line, and it was like the black sleek packaging and things like that. They have expanded wildly since then into skincare and different price points and everything, and then they still have some of the products that made them who they are today. So e.l.f. as a whole is a brand that I recommend. It's definitely get it online if you want to get the whole line. That's where you first could only get it back when it was launched. Then it was in some Kmart stores. I think now it's in Target. I don't think it's in Ulta. It's in some places. So if you want to get the whole line, oh no, I think it is in some Ultas. But anyways, e.l.f. is definitely a brand I love from the drugstore, and they were always about being affordable but good. So eyeslipsface.com in case you're wondering if that's what stands for e.l.f. So that's it for my drugstore faves today. I hope you guys enjoyed this and got value out of it and got some really good ideas and made your little shopping list for next time you go to Target or Ulta or wherever you go. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.